Sorry, I have not started recording yet. You'll notice there's a video in the beginning of the lesson. And what follows after is pretty much a transcription with pictures of like what happened in the video. And then after that, they may do some supplemental things too, where they give you more examples. And then at the end, there'll be like a challenge where they give you the same workbook or a different one and say, hey, try doing these things. At the end, it should look like this. That way you kind of get a walkthrough of like doing something with the video and a practice workbook. And then at the end, you get to test yourself to see, okay, did I actually understand the stuff that was given? So those are nice to use. The next one will always be about what do you actually have in the book to like do. And so the projects A and B are used to kind of give you a strong background in the different topics and objectives for this section. And so we're going to be looking at, again, working with a database, sorting, filtering data, and analyzing data as well. So we'll see some different things that we can do. And then I try my best to have some type of video to go along with. They're usually going to be old versions of projects. So kind of like our scripture lectures are similar to the projects you'll do. These old projects are also there as well. Just to give you another example. PowerPoint directly from the publisher of the book. They made PowerPoints for each chapter within their book. So that's here as well, which you're allowed to go through. Might take too long to load, I might just move on. But it comes with pictures and also notes too. In some of them, most of them just have like the pictures and a few words to kind of point out what something is and what's being used. Yeah, let's take too long to move on. But it probably won't take as long to load on your own screen. I have multiple computers in my room alone that are on the internet, and they'll tell me what my roommates are using. Oh, there it is. So here are the objectives for this section, and then giving you some instructions on different things you can do with it. So, okay. All right. And then your two projects for actually next week, because we are ahead, will be 5A and 5B. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So I sent you, Sandra. Were you able to get it now? Tabitha, if I don't know if you're on the computer, if you're able to. But I sent out the emails for scripture lecture for 5A. Yes. Okay. Good. Just making sure you guys got that. Stephanie, did you receive an email as well? That way, it might be easier to follow along that way. Yeah, it's a lot of data. It's a lot of data on this one, because we're going to be dealing with multiple worksheets. So try to see if Stephanie got it too.
I have not received any.
All right. Try this then. Let's see. 38601 is your course number. So, okay. I won't write a fancy email because I already did one. I'll just attach what needs to be there. All right. Here we go. Hopefully you got that. So it says it went through, so we have to give it a little bit, but it should be there. Okay. And normally I would ask someone to volunteer so they can kind of walk through. I think I'll do it this time because since there's so much data, us going back and forth, I want to make sure that it's as seamless as possible and not to confuse anymore. Yeah, this one would be a little more complicated to have you all start off by demonstrating. Maybe the next one after you've seen it done once, or at least the G one. Got it? Awesome. All right, cool. So we're looking at, if you look at the Word doc first, I usually tend to move this to another page afterwards. But the Word doc says for us to start Excel and open it and open the first one, data script, script data one. So that's the one I'm going to open. On my own computer, I usually don't save it, but I'll demonstrate how to do that as well today. And then, so pretty much we'll just follow along with these. And while we're doing so, I'll sometimes give little tidbits. So if you get lost on what section I'm at, just say so. So that way I can tell you, and I'll try my best to let you know when I'm moving on to, okay, we're gonna look at hiding columns now and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna move this to my second screen. And so here's scripted data one. And so when we save our file, I'm gonna go to first things first. Whenever you receive anything from online that you did not create yourself in an Office application, you will see this yellow bar. The yellow bar allows for you to enable editing. The purpose for this is because years ago, someone created a virus in the background on a macro, which we'll look at macros towards the end of the course. And sent out an email to someone, and then it attached itself to other documents that got sent out again to other people, and it kept doing so, and it got widespread. So to prevent that, it's saying, hey, do you trust this source that this came from, which is me coming from the publisher. So I'm telling you that you can trust us. If you don't, then you won't be able to do the course. So we're going to click enable editing. And so now I can begin to edit this. There are two levels to the enabling, depending on what's in the background. If it's just the workbook itself, then it will just enable editing. If it's the workbook with VBA or macro content in the background having to run, or like a pivot table or anything else, then it'll ask you twice. So say enable editing and then enable content. So that's the first thing. All right, so you all are instructed next to save this. So I'm gonna do a file, save as, because if I do save, it's already the document we have is already been named and saved as something. So if you just click save, it's gonna save on top of that. I suggest you all do save as well, because this way you can actually practice this again if you wanted to. These are yours to have and use as you want. Afterwards, you've already purchased for proper use of it, so you can use it however you want. After this, you can use it to practice on your own after this class. So I would do a save as well. And so I'm gonna browse over to my folder where I'm gonna save the stuff, and I'm gonna save it as, I would say 5A schedule. So and for me, I'm just gonna add something extra just so I can know that this was for the fall 2020 class. Okay. And so you'll notice at the top that my title has changed. So it now has the new name. That's because I'm working on that copy of it. The other one will still be where it was originally. All right. And so what I'm going to do here is the last couple of weeks we've been looking at auditing as one thing we've looked at with a worksheet, within a workbook, is to say, hey, is this filled out correctly? Is anything missing? Are the formulas that are used, are they being used correctly? Are there any errors? And so there's one more thing I want to show you all, and it's in regards to, let's say that when you are doing an audit or you're looking at a workbook and you want to say, for instance, this is a class schedule. So funny enough, we did class schedules a couple of weeks ago, so I had to do something similar to this. But everything needs to be filled out, right? Everything needs to have a course name, has to be under a department, a section number, yada, yada, yada. Everything needs to be filled out. Unless it was an online class, then there might be a time. May not be. But everything should be filled out. So there should be no blanks. So what I'm going to do, instead of me going up and down, looking through all of this data to say, okay, there's a blank, there's a blank, there's a blank, I'm going to use Excel to tell me where a blank is. So to do this, on the Home tab, and so our tab named up here, tabs, Home tab, I mean this one, and then under tabs are, which are broken up by these little vertical bars. But each group has a name, and the name is always at the bottom of the group. So on the Home tab, we're going to go to the Editing group. and I'm going to click on Find and Select. That's what we're going to use today. Find and Select. This over here just in case I can see it. Okay, so Find and Select. Under here, this is how you would do find and replace, which you all may be familiar with. If you've ever gone online and you're searching for something in a document, if you just hit Control F, you'll get a little bar that allows you to type something in, and it'll search the document for every instance of that word or phrase that you type. Find works the same in the Office applications like that, and you also the shortcut key for it is also Control F because it makes it easier. It makes it universal for everyone to say, "Oh, okay, I can just press Control F." Replace is, in my mind, find is just a short version of replace because what replace does is it finds things and then gives you the option to replace it with something else. Um, so, for instance, if every instance of the word Anthony should actually say Tony because the professor says, I don't want it to say Anthony Reed. That's my government name. I want Tony Reed. So I could do a find for Anthony and then replace all of them with Tony, make it faster instead of going through again and looking at each one separately. Okay. Go to allows you to jump to different cells quickly from a search. So this is this function is used within these guys within find and replace because it jumps to those selections. We also have a go to special. Okay, and go to special is a lot better because it allows you to get very specific about what it is that you are going to, and it also allows you to do certain things automatically to those. Um, and so, for instance, we said we want to look for all the blanks. Notice the different things that are here: precedence and dependence, which we talked about um, with the auditing when we were tracing dependence and precedence. We'll get to blanks. That's what we're actually going to use today. But if different formulas are used, you want to go to where the formulas are. Again, that can help with auditing because they'll go directly to them, and then you can check for certain things. Data validation, which we did last week. That's how you're able to say this cell should have this type of stuff in it, or should have these words being used in it, or give it a drop-down list. Data validation allows you to do that. If it's being conditionally formatted, so these are ways we can quickly go to certain objects. Show mine says note, not comments. I save up here instead of comments. Yours says notes. Okay. Um, that is great. You have a Windows computer, correct? Yes. Okay. She says hers says notes instead of comments. Comments are here because you can actually add comments to a cell, like if you're sharing it to someone else. So maybe at some point in time it was also called note. I've never seen that before. But it should just, yeah. So if you're, I'm assuming your note is the same, unless it's talking about the note style, the note style. So that'd be interesting to actually test to see what that is, what that why yours says note and what it does. I'd be interested to see that. So maybe on Thursday we could do that if you don't mind. We could share your screen and show that so we can see what it does. But yeah, so I'm gonna click OK now for blanks. And you'll notice that there's a blank selected there. There's a blank selected here. And that was all of them. So it's just two of them. So all the blanks are automatically multi-selected, which is great because then what I can do is I can change the fill color of all of these because it's white right now, right? And all the text around it makes it kind of hard to see it, the two of them sometimes. Unless I went really slow. Well, I'm gonna change the fill color or the background color. Some people like to think of it in Excel. It's called a fill color. I'm gonna change it to yellow. Now, I could just click this guy here because when you open up Excel, it says, hey, what was the last thing used? If there is no last thing used, and I'll just put yellow because that's the general thing color that people use to highlight. I'm putting quotes around that, but to highlight cells. So I'm going to go here though, because I just like to show. We click the drop down, we can select our colors, and it gives us a little screen tip. So here it says, hey, it was yellow. And now as the yellows stand out, so we can clearly see, hey, here's a blank or something that needs to be filled in. Funny enough, we actually do use yellow in our own class schedules, and most schools I know do that too, to denote that, hey, something needs to be filled in. It's a very common color use. Green, yellow, and red are the colors that are most commonly used. Red means something's very wrong, or you need to stop and look at this, or this is very important. The yellow tends to mean, hey, something's missing, or slow down, take a look at this, just draw your attention to it. Green means like, hey, it's good to go. Blue is usually done like it's like green, but it's saying, hey, this has already been taken care of completely. It's already good to go. It's like a second stamp, so to speak. Like, hey, we're all good. Um, and that's just those are pretty much the colors that are generally used when people are doing anything with a workbook. So that's just for your own knowledge. So if you're ever working with large notebooks and you see colors, it's always important to ask why. But generally speaking, those are the colors they're going to be used, and that's why they're going to use them. So, all right. So now that we got that, uh, we can see the two that we have clearly because of the yellow. Just in case I missed any, no, I didn't miss any other ones. All right, good. So that's been taken care of. All right, so any questions about the go to special command? Oh, hey, Bailey. Um, no? Okay, cool. So now we're gonna look at hiding some columns because when I'm doing the scheduling, I'm gonna have to fill these out at some point. And there's a couple of staff here too. So in my own personal class schedule, when I'm building the schedule for the for next semester and forward, if I see staff, I always make that yellow too. I would do like find and replace and or actually go to and then go to staff and then make a change of all of those to be yellow as well because that means someone needs to be scheduled there. So that's what I use. But there's a lot of information, or sorry, there's a lot of data on the screen right now. So it's kind of hard to see everything and see things that I may need to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you could hide a column. And you could do the same thing with sheets as well, in case you didn't want to see them at the moment, or if you didn't want someone else that's going to be coming onto your computer to see stuff. Maybe later on in the future, I can show you how to protect them too, so someone will need a password to even get into it. So I'm going to press Control Home, and that takes me to A1. Control Home will take you to cell A1. This is the beginning. That's why the home part's used. But I'm going to select columns E through G. And to select the column, I'm just clicking on its column header here, the very, very top, the letter. And then I'm clicking and dragging to select all three of them. So columns E through G. All right, and so I'm going to actually do the way I usually hide, which is I just right click on these, and there's an option to hide. But I will also show you how else you can hide. So if we go to View, the View tab here, you'll see an option to hide. There should be one more here. Yeah, it is. Under Format in the Home tab in this group, under Visibility, you can hide as well. Okay, so this is what I usually do, just right click and hide, just like I do with the inserts and deletes. It's just faster. So I'm gonna hide there. So it appears that those are deleted, but they're not. Notice it goes from D to H. That lets us know that the column was not deleted. It's still there somewhere. You just can't see it. And some of you may notice there's a little like hump here, um, which is honestly just a some bundled up column. So that's how they represent that something else is there. And if I were to double click there and grab it enough, I guess, I can kind of bring it out if I want to. You see that? I can also do unhide. So, but the beauty of this is that those things may not need to be seen for what I'm doing at the moment. So this makes it a little easier. Okay, so that is how you hide things. I'm gonna go back to A1. So now we can see a little bit better the screen and what's on here. So any questions about hiding or unhiding columns? And yes, you can do the same thing with rows. You can hide or unhide a row just by selecting it. Okay. All right. So let's do some stuff, more stuff with GoTo. So I'm gonna go back to find and select. So home tab, going over to the editing group. I'm gonna click on find and select. This time I'm gonna go to GoTo. It says, hey, what is it that you want to go to? If I wanted to, I can click special here, and then it would go to the GoTo special that we just came from. But in this case, I am going to use GoTo. So I'm going to tell it to go to M130. So go all the way down to the bottom, M130. There we are. Okay. So as you can see, I can also use it to go to any cell that I want just by typing in the cell address. And cell addresses are named by their columns and then rows. And as we've seen, we can actually name the cells anything we want to, if we want to get to it quicker. We want to get to it quicker, or if we want to use a cell in a certain formula, we can use the name by naming it first. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see how many how many classes still do not have a faculty member assigned. Because we know students don't like to not see a faculty member assigned to a course yet. They don't like to see staff. They want to see a name because then they could probably, use rate my professor and things like that to say, okay, is this a good teacher to take this course or not? And so what I'm going to do is in this cell M30, I'm going to use a function known as COUNTIF. So we've used it before. So I'm going to do equals COUNTIF. You can see it's there. So I can double click on that guy. And it says that it needs a range and a criteria. So what this is we're trying to get a count of all the classes that don't have a instructor assigned. So those are all the ones that say staff. And so we want to see anything that's in this whole column here that has staff. And so the column begins at M2 and it goes all the way down to M128. As we can see, they're going to M128. Okay. And then that would be my range. That's my cell range. Because cell range starts at the top left and then goes to the bottom right. In this case, it's one whole column, so it'll just be the top and bottom. Then it says criteria. What is it that I'm looking for? Well, we're looking for everything that says staff. And staff is text, so I'm putting quotations around it. If you were to use the function wizard, which I can show, I will show, you would just be able to type in the word staff and it will automatically put those quotes around it. Okay. So when I press enter now, you'll see I need 30 classes assigned. So I need to probably either hire up to 30 more staff members or instructors, or give some classes to some instructors, give some extra classes to some instructors. So, but if I just came down here and I saw 30, or if I pass this on, like let's say I got sick and someone else had to do schedule for me, or I got fired and someone else had to do schedule for me, how are they gonna know what this 30 is? Well, I'll help them out by putting here, this is the unassigned classes. Okay. And instead of this being centered, I know it's centered because I'm looking up here in the alignment group on the home tab. It's centered. I'm gonna give it a left alignment. Okay. And then some of you may say, I still can't see that. So what can we do so we could see that? It's not in the set of instructions, but you all are familiar with it. We could double click up here to give it an auto fit for the column width. So that way it's clearly seen, hey, here's my assigned classes so that I can see what's going on here. Okay. All right, cool. Let's go back to the very first cell A1 and start over at the beginning again. Are any questions about how we just used the GoTo command just to go to a certain area? Or about the COUNTIF function? Okay. All right. Let me go to home. Let's go back over here. So next thing is to arrange multiple workbooks and splitting worksheets. So in case you ever had multiple workbooks open, So each time you open up an Excel file, it's a workbook. It's called that because it can have multiple sheets in it, and it gets its name from how they used to use them in accounting. Um, and so there's multiple workbooks that you can have open at the same time. Well, maybe you'll want to have it open at the same time because one will have information that you want to copy over to another one real easily, or so you can just see what's going on in the other one. There may be times where you have stuff that's in the same worksheet that's up top, but you need it down at the bottom, and you can't keep scrolling, 400 rows in order to get to it. So that's something else as well. So you may want to be able to have multiple workbooks on the screen at one time so that you can see them. You may want to split a worksheet, just one of them, so that you can see different things. Okay. So we're going to take a look at how to do that exactly. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another workbook. So I'm going to go to the Backstage view. To do that, I hit File. File takes us to the Backstage view. And what we're going to do is we're going to open a new workbook. So I'm going to do open, or sorry, I should say open another workbook. I'm going to open and go to wherever you downloaded your scripture lectures. And what we're going to do is we're going to go find script data 2. Mine's is right here, but just to visualize going to find it, I can go browse, and it goes to the last place where I saved the file that we just had. So it's right here. So I'm going to get my script data 2. I'm going to open that. And hey, it opens another one for me. There it is. Great. Okay. So again, this is also in protective view. I won't be doing anything directly with this, so I'm going to leave it like that. If I were to begin to type on this, I would have to enable editing so I could begin to edit it. For now, I just want to look at it because it has people requesting to teach classes. So these people probably went online and saw, hey, it says staff, I can teach that. Let me teach it, please. So which does happen. So all right. I literally have had people that didn't work for us at all be like, hey, I saw online that you had an opening for this. Could you hire me for the teacher's class? These are my credentials and stuff. So kind of sometimes it's cool having that staff part online because people do look for it so they can then kind of jump on it. But anyway, let's see. So what we're going to do now is we have both of these workbooks open, but we want to be able to see those assignments, right? Those people are requesting to teach classes, and we have needs for 30 classes that need to be filled in with a staff member. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the View tab, and I'm going to go to the Windows group, or the Window group here. And I'm going to do something that's known as Switch Windows. And so what Switch Windows does, it lists all of the active workbooks you have. So notice I have all 4 of the data files open, but it allows you to then switch between them. So if I click that, hey, it brings it up. So I probably need to actually close the other ones for the next thing we're about to do. Because now that we have both of these open, what I may want to do is arrange them so I could see both of them at the same time. And so to do that, I'm going to click on Arrange All. So same thing, same place, View tab in the window. And it asks for me to, it says, hey, how do you want to arrange these? And I'm going to arrange these horizontally. Click OK. And so what you now see is that each workbook is horizontal, but they split the screen, right? They split the screen. The desktop is split between these 2 workbooks. Well, how is this helpful to us? It can be very helpful, right? Because all I have to do now is scroll till I get to one of those staff members, or I can even look down here. It says, hey, Martin Clark, he wants this one. He wants history of mathematics, math 72655. And that says course 210. So since these were in order, I could kind of go down till I got to, I don't see a 210. I guess it's not, oh, they're down here. Okay. Oh, there they are. So history of mathematics, 72656. Oh, it does say staff. So maybe I'll give that to Martin. Okay. But see how I just was scrolling for that? That's not an effective use of Excel, right? That's not an effective use of Excel. We have already we've already seen a way to be able to look for something effectively within Excel, right? All right. So to do that, what I am going to do instead is I am going to use find in order to find exactly where that is. So textbook, or sorry, the instructions I gave you also had you doing something else here. So I'll just talk about it. I don't see a point of actually using it. I'm trying to figure out why I put that in here, to be honest, right now. I mean, I know why, but so if you look at the top here, let me control home, get to the top. I got course name, department, like here are all of my headers, right? You can't see these as I scroll down, right? So what would be very useful is if you could see these as we scroll up and down so that you know what each part is as we are navigating through this. So what I had you doing pretty much was to go to cell A130, and what we'll do is we'll split it here. And so what split does in the view tab in the window group is it allows you to see this one worksheet twice pretty much. It has two versions of it, one above and one below the split. So since it's a split here, it'll actually do the split right above it here. So if I click that, you'll even notice that it's there. And now we can see where the and we can start to see how that would change. I also could do something like this where I go all the way to the top here so I can always see, hey, here are my column headers. And then down here at the bottom, I can start maneuvering to do what I need to do. I could also put those there and maneuver up here so that way I can say, okay, this column is always course name, this column is always department. So that's how that could be used if you wanted to use it. So I'm going to go back to where my unassigned classes are. And up here, let's find out where did I click for split? View tab, window, but I had cell A130 selected when I hit split. So I'm going to find this class, which I did earlier by just like scrolling and looking for it. But I'm going to find this class now using home tab, editing group, find and select. So use find. Could just press Control F to do so, but works the same. Okay. So what is it that I want to find? I want to find the section number that matches this guy. So 72656. It goes straight there. So I know this is Martin Clark's class or the class he wants to have. There's plenty of other stuff here that I could use to find it, but this would be the easiest. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put his name in here. Notice that all the last names are first. So I'm going to do Clark, comma Martin, or is it Martin? Yeah, Martin. Martin. And I'm going to press enter. And so when I do that, look what happens to my unassigned classes. It went down to 29. Yay, we're getting better. Okay. So let's look at the next one here. There's another history class. Oh, Martin wanted this one too. Thankfully, we already can see that very easily, so we don't have to go search for it. So I'm going to give that to Martin Clark as well. Thanks, Martin. You'll notice that I didn't even have to continue typing that. It auto-completed for me, right? Because it recognized, hey, Clark, comma is already up above it. Okay, which part? The replace, define and replace?
To be honest, I think in everything. I think I lost something.
Okay. Do you have your screen? Do you have your screen split?
I did. When you say like about to go to the 130 and do something, I lost that thing as well before.
Okay. So to be honest, that part, to be perfectly honest, that part isn't really important, but that's just
Okay.
splitting this. But I'll show you. I'll show you how I did it. So what I did was I just went to cell A130, and so to get there quickly, I just hit Control N because that goes to the last cell that could possibly have something. And so I went over to A130, and then I split this worksheet. The reason I did that is so I could see multiple parts of the worksheet at the same time.
Okay, so you split.
Mm-hmm.
I did it.
And notice that you see how we get that little gray line there?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm gonna leave that there.
Now, mine is so small that I cannot see so good. I see just, I don't know how can I move the one that is below to I see better because I see only two, one row and a half.
Yeah.
I couldn't see.
So if you want to, you could make this smaller by clicking on that gray bar and bringing it down a bit.
Okay.
So you can see a little more up here. But also, like, this may just not be the best arrangement for you. So, like, be perfectly honest with you, I would just use my 2 monitors or 3 monitors that I would have in my office to do this. I would have each one of these workbooks up on a multiple one. However, the stuff that's down here, how much of it do I really need to see at a time? I just need to see one of them. So this is all the stuff I need. So I probably would even do something like this. So I can bring it down more and then make this one bigger.
Okay.
So, and that's just like that's becomes like personal preferences of what works best for you. Because now I can see a lot more of this one. And like you said, I only need to see a little bit of this because I'm only looking at the unassigned classes. So yeah, that becomes preference of what makes it for you to see. Because like on your screen could be much smaller than the one I'm using right now. And then you won't be able to see, like you said, you can't see all that. You only see like 3 things. So or 1.5. You said 1.5 rows. So yeah. So you adjust it so that you can use it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So
another thing is how to put in the name. You change the names there to the staff one.
So what I did was first I looked for them because like this guy down here at the bottom, Martin Clark, wants this course 72656, and so I say find next. That's the course that I'm going to fix. Okay. So I went over to where it said staff, and then I typed in his name and gave him that class.
So for do that, you where you went? It's like you selected the 110 to do that, or like how you open this box to find the name? You go to find.
Yeah, to find, well, not to find the name. So this said staff at first. Okay. And I got some kind of list that was produced that said, "Hey, Martin Clark wants to teach this class. It doesn't have a instructor assigned to it." So I said, "Oh, okay. I'm gonna click in the section numbers because I have my section number stuff here, and let me just move it so like as if I didn't know where it was." And so I just clicked in here where the section numbers were, and I hit Control F so I could use find. And then I said, "Hey, what's that number for that section?" Oh, it's typed right there. It's 72656. And I click find, and it found it for me. And so I can now go over to here and say, "Oh, okay. It says staff. I'll give Martin Clark that course." Okay. And then I did it for the next one as well, which was right underneath it. So that's how I've typed Martin Clark for that one. Are you with me now? Okay. And so that's where we left off. So I had one more that I was going to do. We've given Martin Clark enough classes, maybe. So let's see who else has a need. So Marilyn Musso wants to teach a course as well. She wants to teach another history of mathematics course. So I'm not sure what that one is. So I'm going to go over here and find it again. So hers is 73233. Click find next. Lo and behold, there we go there. History of mathematics. There it is. I'm going to give this one to Musso, Maryland. Okay. And every time I notice that the unassigned classes goes down. Okay. All right. So maybe that's enough scheduling for today.
So you click like a find next or find now after you put the number.
I find mine says find next.
Okay, so
Because I already had I already had it open. I already used it. If you had not used it, it would have said find now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's actually everything that we're going to do for today. We'll look at objective 2 on Thursday and probably finish this one up and maybe even get started on another one. Because as I told you all, I have a meeting today downtown that I have to, well, I have to actually be in charge of. So this class is a little early because a little early today. So I will start recording now. And